Welcome back. Issue 54 jumps right into it. So, this random pink lady over there's crush is wanted for murder.
He's innocent.
You don't even know what happens yet.
I don't care. He's so cute.
And we get the worst way to go into a flashback. How in the name of sanity did I get into a jam like this? Oh yes, it's coming back to me now. It all started on a lovely spring day.
You leave Scotty alone. Leave Scotty alone.
Backstory flashback is back.
The X-Men are in their civvies and attending Alex Summers' graduation. Yes, even though it's never been mentioned before, Scott has a brother and he's a bit of a superstar.
Wowza. I can live with a sexy brother-in-law as backup, if you know what I mean.
Enough already, 4 lines and we're only like a minute in. Anyway, Alex is like, let me get out of this outdated tradition garb, but while he's doing so, some ancient Egyptian dressed freaks hit him with the Ring of Silence, i.e. a ring filled with knockout gas. I love it, and I want more of this silence ring stuff. Anyway, cuts to Alex on an altar and this dude called the Living Pharaoh wants to sacrifice him because of his mutant powers. And a side note, he does mention that all the pharaohs were mutants. I'm not sure if this has any apocalypse connotations or not, but it's something to throw in the memory bank for much further down the line. But of course, the X-Men barge in to ruin a perfectly good sacrifice. They tussle and the Pharaoh calls for backup. Pew Pew Eyes tries to hit him with optic blast, but he can barely even hold back the Pharaoh's own power, and the Pharaoh erects a sonic shield that stops Token Jean from blasting him with mental waves. Egypt dudes retreat, and the X-Men decided to give Scott and Alex some space, as Alex is only just finding out Scott's secret identity as an X-Men. They talk and a Living Pharaoh dude comes out of nowhere and knocks them clean cold. As Scott wakes up, that's where we return to Pew Pew Eyes earlier in the issues, with cops standing over him. There's a dead body of the Pharaoh next to him and Alex is missing, so he assumes the boys run off. Psyche escapes. Elsewhere, the other X-Men hear he's a wanted fugitive on the radio, and we finish with Pew Pew Eyes in some dark tunnels, face to face with the Living Pharaoh, who was apparently thought dead, but he switched bodies, who knew? Issue 55 picks up directly where the last one ended. Psyche and the Pharaoh tussle. Meanwhile, Token Jean is using her abilities to track where Scott is, just as she's about to lock on to the location. He's knocked out cold. He wakes up on a plane with some helmet on his head so he can't, Pew Pew Eyes as Pew Pew Eyes does. Somehow, without being able to see, he can tell that Alex is locked inside a sarcophagus, but more importantly, waking up means Jean can now track him again. The X-Men chase, but the Living Pharaoh waves his magic stick at them and shoots them down. We cut to the Pharaoh in a secret chamber under a pyramid, and he makes the big mistake. He announces that no one will ever find us here. In another room, Pew Pew Eyes starts smacking his head against the sarcophagus, which apparently has the integrity of a wicker basket because he's finally able to free Alex. So once more, they have to tussle their way past these red Egyptian dudes. The Pharaoh goes to enter the fray against the Summer Brothers, but the X-Men turn up. Irrelevant Angel tosses him about like something you'd toss about.
Worst analogy ever. So how'd the X-Men get there after their plane was shot down?
It didn't quite say. But the Pharaoh's a little annoyed over being treated like a rag doll and goes to the top of the pyramid.
Oh.
He raises his magic stick.
Double oh.
He draws on his powers.
Oh, I can't watch.
Only to have his magic stick shattered into 1,000 pieces. Beneath the pyramid stands Alex Summers. He can't believe it. He also is a mutant. Alex Summers is still reeling from using his powers for the first time, but doesn't really get to dwell on it as red Egyptian dudes return with concussion guns, which we know what they are because they're all about announcing their concussion guns. Hey, everybody, they have concussion guns. And like this really cool red land speeder thing. all the X-Men are down and out, which means all that time saving Alex was for nothing because he's alone with the Pharaoh once again.
Creep.
Anyway, remember when he had Alex on an altar and was going to sacrifice him? Not sure what he was planning to do because now he's got him wired up to this machine because apparently it's the only way to absorb his power, so what was the point of the altar? Then he does absorb his powers. The X-Men catch up because, you know, only concussion guns, right? Not like shoot your dead guns because that would make more sense, but they're here to save the...
Oh my god, what's that?
The Pharaoh has become the living monolith. Ultimate power, or at least really big and really strong with skin of stone. Irrelevant Angel is snapped up in an instant. Pew eyes shoot, but it's barely a distraction. Jean can only hold him momentarily with her telekinesis, but Beast aims for the feet, tripping him over. Nothing can stop this monstrosity. Deep within the chambers, however, Alex Summers has survived and is trapped. Struggling as his oxygen dwindles, he calms himself, searching deep inside. The Pharaoh said he had the power, and now he's going to find it if it's the last thing he ever does. The energy inside his pod begins to crackle. Alex Summers absorbs the energy around him, sucking it into him, pulling it even from the living monolith himself. The force is so strong that even the temple around him collapses because that's pretty much what always happens. And yet, there stands Alex, surrounded by the ruins, untouched, and still crackling with power. Only, there's one problem. He can't control it. You know, I've been holding on to getting to the Chris Claremont era, and I always figured that it was that gap when the X-Men comics weren't coming out, that the kind of comic landscape changed to better writing that is reflecting that mid-70s X-Men period. But there are definitely signs here of the book improving. Despite the terrible flashback and Beast's crappy dialogue, it does feel like there's more at stake and there's an edge of realism to the character's motivation. I did feel like it dragged on an issue extra than it needed. Like, I always feel it's pointless when you have a whole issue of saving a character only for them to get knocked out and that same character kidnapped first thing next issue. Like, you could really skip that first rescue and just get to the cool part of the living monolith. It would definitely tighten the story a little. But I feel like having the extra characters here through Alex and Lorna in the previous issues, hey, I wonder if those two will meet. But having them introduced reduces that focus on the X-Men, which I've already said before that these are really the worst part of the story. And the author is less concerned about trying to show each of their abilities every issue and just concentrating on the story. So yeah, definitely things are progressing here. So see you all next time. Hey, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this approach, please like and subscribe for more videos. And remember, if you're interested in reading the full story, the easiest way is to sign up to Marvel Unlimited at marvel.com/unlimited. I need to breathe.